I offered to turn a bunch of wands for a local library. They're doing a Harry Potter themed party later this year, and asked for stuff they can give away to the kids, giveaways, sweepstakes prizes, whatever. And these are relatively quick and easy things to do. It usually takes about 7 to 10 minutes for each one. Got a piece of cherry on here. Nothing real fancy, just rough it down quick. And then pretty much just see where the wood goes each time. I'm trying not to make every one the same, but it's only so much you can do when you're doing real quick turning with a roughing gouge. Let's see. As far as finishing, I'm just doing a quick 120 grit sand afterwards. No reason to go super high grit on these since they're got to turn out a whole bunch of them. And that gives a good enough finish. Still a little out around right there. Same back here from the feel of it. Yeah, I think we're fully rounded out. Let's go ahead and slim this down a bit. I'll put a few sharp edges in here somewhere. Let's see. Don't have any of my spindle gouges on hand at the moment, so just making do with what I do have. Go ahead and define the bottom there. And what the heck, put a few grooves in. And we'll plan on taking it down there. This is the only part that really takes a little bit of trickiness, just because going fairly thin here, so it has a tendency to want to flex, and if I put too much pressure on, eventually it'll snap. But haven't lost too many of them so far. Let's go ahead and slim that down a little bit here. And you can see it vibrating a little bit there from the slightly heavier cut with the skew. And we'll leave a little bulbous at that end, why not? And take off that little mess right there. The rest of that will clean up real quick with the sandpaper, so let's just finish slimming this down. This is just a piece of green cherry, like I think I said earlier. Turns nice and easy. Some of the other woods I've been using, I've got a whole bunch of random ones. Take a little bit more effort to turn, but the cherry's been real quick and easy for the most part. Just trying to get this fairly close to straight. I can finish it out a little bit more with the sandpaper afterwards. And leave a little extra meat on the end there, I'll trim off later so I don't split things out with the tailstock there. Again, you can see it vibrating a little bit, so we'll go ahead and call that one good enough. Actually fits the hand fairly well. So quick sand on it. Pull the tailstock out of the way, and yeah, you probably should turn the lathe off first before doing that, because if you hit something, good chance of messing things up, but oh well. Do as I say, not as I do, I guess. Moderate pressure, but keeping a hand on it so I can feel if it starts to flex too much. Just trying to make sure I don't feel any notable high and low spots along this spot, so it's supposed to be fairly straight. And we'll go ahead and sand out the rest of it real quick. This is just run-of-the-mill random orbit sander paper. I like it on the lathe because that bit of Velcro backing just gives you a little bit of extra padding and resistance against the heat that builds up. So it tends to work fairly well. And I'll keep a whole bunch of it on stock, of course, too. Let's get down to that groove. Catch that side real quick. little bit of an edge right there. Alright, we'll go ahead and get finish on most of it, then I'll come in and cut in for the ends. And for finish, I'm just using a friction polish. It's shellac, boiled linseed oil, and denatured alcohol, I think. There's a bunch of recipes online for that stuff. But like the rest of this project, it's real quick and easy. Put a little bit on the paper. Make sure I get some applied throughout so our first coat soaks in a little bit. Okay, and now we can start polishing and add a few more coats. I've been doing about 3 or so per wand usually. Usually you can start seeing a little bit of a sheen now already, but by about the second or third is when it starts to pick a bit of a gloss. And if I polish it up higher with the sandpaper first to say 320 grit or even better, it gets a much higher shine, but this still gets to about a semi-gloss or so, quick and easy. It only takes a few moments per coat. And I'm pushing in on both sides rather than pulling against to build the friction, so I'm putting less force on the actual spindle, so I'm a little bit less likely to break it off at this stage. Not that I've ever done so, of course. I'm not speaking from experience or anything there. Alright, one more coat, then we'll do the ends real quick. And that'll be it for this one. Hopefully the camera's catching. As you go back and forth the paper, you can actually watch the line from the lights above me sharpen up basically and see that you're building a gloss on it. Okay, set that aside. Let's go ahead and just round off this tip here real quick. And we'll undercut here, give me a little bit more room with the bandsaw. Okay. Quick swipe of sandpaper on both, a little bit more finish, and then we're done. Alright, that should do it. Unfortunately, my lathe does not have any sort of brake, and even with my hand slowing it down carefully, it still takes a little while to spin down, but there we go. Still got to trim off the ends on the bandsaw and with the little razor blade or some such, then give that a quick swipe on the sandpaper, but there's another lathe done. Quick and pretty easy, nothing overly fancy. Would look better with a little bit more time spent on details or sanding or whatever, but good enough for this use. So, on to the next one.